Many people say that they want to write a book, yet 9 out of every 10 people who start writing a book never finish it, leaving one of their biggest dreams unfulfilled. So, what is it about the 1 in 10 people who do finish writing their book? What do they have, and what drives them to complete their books, their plays, and their songs? Welcome to the Editor's Desk, where we explore their writing experiences, their motivations, and their struggles. And now, here are your hosts, author, writing coach, and self-publishing guide, Lynn Everard, and author, Louise Gomez.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Editor's Desk. It is Thursday, June 1st. Can't believe we're already in June, Lynn. Welcome.
I know, right? Yeah, so this month is going to go by so fast, like the other ones didn't, right? They've all gone by fast.
Yeah.
But we're into summer now. And so what better than to have books for kids, right? That are
Yes.
helping them, keep themselves occupied and learn new things about themselves and about the world.
That's so true. We have today the book, The Adventures of Lego. And right now we have the illustrator, Miss Kelly Webb. Karen Boyd is on the way. We'll speak to her when she gets here. But I wanted to introduce Kelly and thank you for coming to the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
So, Kelly, I was just reading your book and the book you illustrated, and I have to say, I'm so impressed with your artwork.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, could you tell me a little bit more about your experience as an artist? Like, when did you realize you wanted to be an illustrator, and how did that all come to fruition for you?
Well, definitely since I was a little girl, I've always been creative. And I think I explored a lot of those opportunities growing up in South Africa. And coming over to the United States, studying fashion, I've definitely had more opportunities arise. So I've had so much fun being creative and expressing myself through my passion. So I've had a lot of fun doing this.
I love that. And so we also have the publisher here. So we also have Haley Marguerite. You know, she published the book. So she'll be chiming in too a little bit. And until Karen shows up, she's in traffic, but she's on her way, Lynn. And so I just had the pleasure of reading this book. And what I have to tell you is, first of all, I love the size. I feel like when I picked it up, I feel like I was picking up a coloring book. You know, like it's like the thickness of like a color and the size of a coloring book. And I read it really quickly. And I think for me, what I got out of it is this dog, Lego, and you so beautifully illustrated that this dog is looking for attention, it seems. Like he's looking to be entertained or to have somebody be present in his life. Yes. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you've illustrated and what that means?
Yes. So I definitely think the book is all about being present and just appreciate being in the moment and showing love and affection to your loved ones, especially our animals. You don't really notice when your dog is sitting there looking for attention. So as Lego is like going through all these adventures and like wandering around the neighborhood, it's just teaching you, just pay attention to the little things and how his family should have just paid attention to him when he needed them the most.
Yeah, and you know what I love, Kelly, is I'm looking at the illustrations right now, and in some of the illustrations that you've done, it's like you've so beautifully illustrated that the dog in so many different ways is like patiently waiting, or like he's looking for, can somebody notice me, or can somebody give me attention? And so tell us a little bit more about
I definitely try to like pick up on the facial expressions of the dog Lego. I wanted to really convey the emotions he was feeling, just to show the child that's reading the book really what it means.
Yeah, and Haley, I know we were talking earlier, and you were explaining to me. I was reading the book, and we were discussing a little bit about how like the kids are playing on the computer, and that could be an addictive thing. The kid's on the computer and he's playing, and he's not even aware that 3 hours have passed, and he's paid no attention to his pet, his loved one, right? So I want to thank you for bringing awareness. Let's talk about bringing awareness to being present, and I feel like it's so important. And as a young adult, like being on the phone, and we can get like sucked into that whole, it's like this whole other world, right?
I definitely feel like social media has become so a part of our lives. There's always good and bads to everything. I'm definitely addicted to social media. I can't lie, but it's definitely
But
important.
you're aware.
Yes.
You're
to
aware. That's
realize,
huge. So
yeah.
if you're aware, that's not as much as being like, if you're not even aware, that's not,
No. Yeah. So it's important to understand stories like this of your surroundings and be present in every moment you experience, because you take things for granted and it's no longer there anymore. So
That's so true. We take things for granted. And so, Haley, if you, I'm not sure if you can chime in, but I wanted to ask you, what was your experience about, publishing the book, and what was your experience on that?
Sure. It was a great experience. It was really nice. This was Karen's first book that she ever wrote. So it was really nice because I was once, in her shoes before, and I worked with a publisher, and it was really cool because I was able to guide her through those steps, from point A to point B, and say, well, you might want to go about it this way. I might do this with maybe one scene, or if you use this color, it might mean this, or just different little things along the process. And it's so cool when you write a book and then you're able to find the right illustrator to bring your book to life. It's really neat. Unless you have kind of gone down that path, it's so, cool to kind of see all of it kind of just resonate. And it's really neat.
So it sounded like this has like been a team effort.
it definitely
yeah.
has.
It's been a team effort, right?
It has, and that's the best part about it, because just giving your ideas back and forth, it really brings a book to life way more than you ever imagined it. So just, shooting ideas to each other, thinking about the color of each page, the meanings behind each thing, it's just really important when designing a book, illustrating a book, and writing a book.
So it sounds like you're open to feedback.
Definitely. That's
Right?
criticism is very, very important, especially when designing in the creative industry. It's very important.
Yeah, and it's all in the
So-
delivery. Go ahead, Lynn. I'm sorry. I'm over here dominating this. Please chime in.
So I have a question for Kelly and then a question for Haley. And so Kelly, did your illustrating, because you're bringing out the emotion, right,
Yes.
of what that pet is feeling.
Yes.
Now, did you have any experiences as a child with a pet where this started something in you that showed up a little later?
I definitely think so. I've always had a love for animals. Growing up, my grandparents had a cat. Maybe it wasn't a dog, but it was a cat. She had her own personality, and, she passed away when my grandparents passed away. So that kind of relationship stays with you forever. And I'm lucky to say now I have my little doggy best friend. Her name is Zara. She's an English Cocker Spaniel. So just having that bond with a dog, I can definitely resonate with the book, the story, everything behind the adventures of Lego. And growing up, loving animals, it's very, very easy working with something like this because it's something I'm passionate about.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And then for Haley,
And to kind of go off of what Kelly just said, if you're passionate about the story, you can find any illustrator, but if you find the illustrator who the story they really believe in and it just resonates with them, you see it in the illustrations, you see in the facial, gestures, it comes out so much better.
Agreed.
I've worked with so many different illustrators before, and the personality on the characters, you can just tell they're not all in. So I could totally tell with Kelly, she loved the project. She did an incredible job. I mean, as you see with the book, she did an absolute job. Amazing.
Thank you.
So Haley, you've done this process before with other authors. So what is it like for you when you've gotten to kind of the end of the road in the process and the book is now ready for the world to be able to see it and experience it? What does that feel like for you when you get to that place?
So I'm actually a pretty new company. So just about a year this December, I will hit 1 year with Haley Marguerite Publishing. So I'm very excited about that. So we actually only have published 2 books so far. So last week we launched The Adventures of Lego and A Place Without a Postcard. So both books on the same day launched. So I was very excited about that. And to describe the feeling, I actually was more on top of the world when I saw, my logo on the book, Haley Marguerite Publishing, and you see their book finally come out more than my own book. It's a different feeling. You're helping them with their book, and it's a dream they've always had. I've always been someone who likes to help others. So, Karen has always told me how ever since she was a little girl, her mom had told her about this, how she really should get her book published. And her mom was, one of her best friends. And so when she was telling me that, that story, I'm like, oh my gosh, Karen, we have to get this book published. You have to. I know it's kind of inside of you, and we have to figure out, we have to get it published. So I'm so glad we got it published. So she has not seen the book in print yet. I've shown her pictures, so
she hasn't seen it in
so I'm
print
hoping
yet.
when
Oh,
she
this is-
comes,
this is
hopefully
exciting.
she's not in too much more traffic. But
Oh,
hopefully
this-
when she sees it, I can't wait for her to see it. Yeah,
She's stuck in traffic, Lynn. She's on her
know.
way. She's coming from Stewart.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
yeah. But
a
so when
drive,
she
yeah.
comes, she'll get to see not only, the book, but she'll be super excited to see exactly what it looks
Yeah,
I
like.
know. Yeah, she's only seen like a social media thing I
Right.
showed her of it, and like some pictures. But other than that, that was it. But she loved it so far. But it's totally different when you hold it in your hand and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my book.
Yes,
My
it
name's on
is.
it.
You know what, Lynn? I feel that this book should be in elementary schools, and I'll tell you why. It really talks about the power of being present. And nowadays, as you know, I was calling you on the way here. There was an accident, and I said, oh my God, I probably think somebody was texting. I always assume people are texting and driving, but it's just that we're not present. And so this beautiful story actually teaches such a valuable life lesson about presence. There's only here and now, right? There's no past, there's no future, there's only now.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of that book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power
Yes,
of Now.
the power
Yeah.
of now. This is like the
Yeah.
power of now, but in a little children's version of
100%.
it. It actually expresses the power of now through the family and through this dog,
So true. Right.
So what is the age? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you. What is the age range for this book?
So it's good for up to, up to second, third grade. But is that the illustrator? Oh, Karen
Karen
here.
has arrived! Yay! She's arrived. Okay, please take a seat. So it really teaches us about the power of now, of being present right here and right now. And Karen, I was just expressing how beautiful this story is. I read it, and it really teaches us about being present, which is so valuable, right? Lynn, nowadays we have so many distractions, right? With social media and internet and the phones, and it's like, what better way to be present than to be with a loved one or with a dog, right?
And I think it's important to teach your children this from a young
Yes.
age, because oftentimes you see little kids running around with their iPads, not playing on a playground. So I feel like it's very important to teach kids from a very young age.
It's so true. So, Karen, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. You're very.
And I'm so loving your book. Can you please tell us a little background story about, how the story came about? Because I love how it teaches us to be present.
Does this work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The background story is that I didn't know what I was going to write about.
Wow.
And for 20 years plus, I had ideas in my head, but they wouldn't materialize. I was thinking about my cat. I was thinking about my animals because that's my passion. I love animals.
I can see that.
And my mom, who, God rest her soul, she passed away in 2016. She had given me such support and told me that I should just think about what my animals mean to me and come up with something. And I just couldn't. And then I thought about, well, let's see, let me do my cat, let me do my bird, and nothing was coming, nothing, until we adopted Lego.
Aww.
And Lego is a very interesting boy because he loves adventures. He loves to he would get out of the house, because he would just run through the door and we couldn't catch him. And then he would look at us like, ha ha, I'm on my merry way. And then we couldn't find him. And then when we did find him, he was in the neighborhood. One time he was in a car. A few women were going kayaking and the kayaks were on top of the car.
Right.
And we found Lego sitting in the car
Oh
like he
my
was ready to go kayaking.
Oh, how cute.
Then we found Lego running after this boy, and we found, he obviously was running after this boy, and the boy was playing ball with him because he had a ball in his hand, so Lego was playing ball with a boy. So I got to thinking, okay, my story isn't exactly as it happened,
Right.
but I combined Lego's adventures with mindfulness. And because I was a teacher for 25 years.
Oh, I was going to ask you. This is so great for students.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I know what kids really need
Yes.
as far as lessons. And this book pertains to ages 3 through 7.
Nice.
So it's a very simplistic way
Yes.
of teaching the children that you have to be mindful
Yes.
that life isn't only watching TV. It's not only mommy being on her phone and daddy being on her phone. I mean, how
Right.
often have you gone to a restaurant? You've seen, little
Oh,
kids and
only
their
all the
parents are
time.
on the phones, right?
Absolutely.
So I thought, well, isn't this a great idea? Just combine my love of animals and children's love of animals with the fact that they should be mindful of being kind and being loving to their family and their family pets.
I love that. Lynn, I think I just had an epiphany. I think children and animals are here so that we can be present. It's a reminder of being present. Like children and animals, they require, they demand attention. And that is really a way for us to remember, forget about, the phone calls, the games, this. Let's be present. What do you think, Lynn?
Yeah, it's also important to teach the kids to be present,
Yes.
because when you're present, you're not going to be worrying and you're not going to be in regret. Because you can only
in
be,
regret.
you're not going to be worrying about the future
Yes.
or regretting the past,
True.
right? And you can
Yes.
only live your life and create your life from this one present moment. And so that's what I really love about the book, is that anything that's going to bring people into the present moment is going to be just a healthy thing for them to read, and it's going to be really powerful for their soul.
I agree. And being that you're a teacher, Karen, I think this should be in all elementary schools.
Well, wouldn't that be lovely?
Yes. I think it really needs
Thank
to be, and teachers get to realize that this type of book, even though it's such a cute little message, but on the surface you think, oh, it's a dog, but the beautiful
more than that.
meaning and the message of the power of being present, like Haley was saying, like the power of now, Eckhart Tolle. It's like so powerful. Right?
And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the teachers read it like you have, and they decide that they want make it part of their curriculum when it comes to teaching mindfulness.
You know, I totally think, Lynn, that all teachers, all schools should be finding a way to somehow bring it back to mindfulness, being here now. What do you think?
Well, absolutely, because children can't learn if they're, off in the future or off in the past. You
Right.
can only learn by being in the present moment. And
Yes.
a lot of times students have, we have all these things that we've diagnosed like ADHD and all
Yeah.
kinds of things like
Yeah.
that. But what if that's just not because they haven't learned how to be in the present moment?
Right.
Would we even need all of those drugs if we simply taught kids how to be in the present moment and taught them very early in life and early in school?
You know, that's so true. It's just so important to really, and you've seen it, Lynn. How many times have I told you I've been at the mall and I see, these parents are now they have these little carts where they can put the kids in the cart and there's like a video screen on there. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a distraction, and okay, it may serve its purpose for a few minutes, but the reality is I'm a lot older now, but when I was a kid,
Right.
I didn't have that. What did I do? I was observing the reality of life, being in the moment. You're young, Kelly. What do you have to say about being in the present moment and how valuable it is?
I mean, I can definitely say, even though this is a children's book, I can relate to this because I have my own dogs, my own pets that maybe
Nice.
sometimes I don't pay full attention to. So, I mean, this is a life lesson to everyone that is not present in the moment and being mindful. I've taken my own lessons from this book, so I can definitely relate to it.
And may I
Yes,
interject?
of course.
I want to thank Kelly for bringing Lego and all of the characters to life.
Beautiful job.
And
so
she did a
done.
wonderful job. I want to thank Haley for being there at the right time to help me get my
Message.
booty in gear, for lack of a better, because I was sitting on it for so long, and this woman helped me. She pushed me, and she pushed me, and
love that.
And I said, "Okay, Haley, you're right."
Thank
but,
you.
but no, it really has been a good experience and a great experience, I can say, and I'm very grateful for the positive support that I've gotten. So thank you.
Thank you.
I had another quick question. What's the future of this? Is there anything else coming? Like what's coming down the pike for you?
Well, I don't want to talk about
Okay.
exactly what my future plans are. However, there are some things coming, and there's some exciting things that will be happening with the book and around the book, and possibly further. So
Possibly what?
further,
Oh,
go further, to go further.
Nice. That's
I mean,
exciting.
The bug has bitten me.
The bug has bitten her. She's officially like, okay, I'm an author, and here I go. I'm just going to continue.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Have there been any challenges, like, during the process?
Oh, well, there's always challenges.
Of course,
especially
that's
when
why
it's
I
new, when it's a new process.
Sure.
And when you have a new process, you're always going to come to some roadblocks, and times when you say, "Why am I doing this?" But
Right.
you get through it because I've had people around me at my home that have kept me going. My husband, my
Nice.
daughter,
Perfect.
my friends, and it's just been a great experience to know that when you do get to that point, there are people that are there that are going to give you positives. And there's times I got annoyed and upset, and Haley keeps her cool most of the time. I don't so much because I'm so much more of a type A. But we definitely had a good relationship, wouldn't you say?
We did, yeah.
And but there's always going to be problems, but now I understand the process so much more, so I don't think I'd have the same frustrations. I would just say, okay, just keep going. It's going to get better.
Lynn, that
You know,
reminds
I think this is a first for us, Louise, because we've been doing this show for This is our 11th month. And
Yes.
this is the first time that we showed our audience a book before the author themselves saw it in print
Yes,
form.
That's
this
right.
is
I have not seen
true.
it.
And so thank you so
Only on
much,
picture.
Karen, for sharing this moment with us.
Oh,
And, you'll have to get some pictures afterwards.
Oh,
Yes,
we're
for sure.
definitely
Because
going to get
normally
some.
it's a moment where you're pulling it out of the box and that kind of thing. But this is really, really cool. This is probably one of the coolest things we've had happen on our
Oh,
show.
that's great.
You
Thank
know what I love about it, Lynn? It feels like for me when I was a kid, I used to love coloring books. It reminds me of just like the size and the thickness of a coloring book. Oh
Right.
my God, it's so cool. So we have 4 minutes left. If there's anything you want to end with, like what do you have in the future, and then we'll get to you in a second, and then Haley. So what do you have coming up in the future, and where can we find you?
So definitely excited. This was one of my first books, so I have more opportunities coming up. And if anyone would like to reach out to me for more opportunities with illustration, please do. I have social media. I'm very active on
What
that.
is your social media handle?
It's Kelly Webb.
Okay.
So @it's Kelly Webb.
At It's Kelly Webb. Pretty easy. Okay. Karen, can you tell us, we have like 3 minutes left. Can you just tell us how can we find you or anything you have coming up that you'd like to share?
Well, right now I'm on Facebook.
Okay,
I
perfect.
don't have anything more than that
Perfect.
at this point, and it's Karen, and my maiden name is Rosenberg. Boyd.
Karen Rosenberg.
Boyd.
Karen with a C.
Karen with a C.
C-A-R-E-N, Rosenberg.
Boyd. My married name is
Okay,
the last
Karen
name.
Boyd.
And they'll see my face. They'll see the book. Haley
Perfect.
put a beautiful picture of the cover of the book, so they'll see it. And if anyone's interested in my doing a reading or what have you, please get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to. I also have training in theater arts, so I'm able
Ooh,
to
that's
change my
exciting.
voices. Yeah.
That's exciting. She has training in theater arts. All three of my
do.
kids have done theater arts, and they've loved it.
Oh, that's
so
great.
I've been to all of those events, so that's exciting.
Thank you.
And so, Haley, we have like 2 minutes left. If you want to just tell us, where can we find you and what other information?
Sure. So if anyone else is looking to get their book published, you can go to HaleyMarguerite.com. That's a long one. So that's HALEY Marguerite, MARGUERITE.com. You can find me on social media, Haley Marguerite.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, Lynn, we're back. What do you, who do we have next week? We have like 2 minutes left before we end. What do you, do you
Yeah,
want to
so-
chime in on anything that they've said? And before any final
Yeah,
thoughts?
so, again, I want to just reiterate how special this show was in the sense that we actually got to see the author's print version almost before they did.
Yes,
And,
and we have,
coming-
this is the first we ever have the illustrator, the author,
Right.
and the publisher, all three at
Yes.
once. We've never had that.
Yeah.
The
So
trifecta.
this is basically like a book launch party, right?
Yes, this is a book launch
what
party.
we did tonight. And then I do want to say that be sure and join us next week when our guest is Kelly Zabinski, who wrote a book called The Swamp Next Door.
Ooh, I can't
I don't
wait
know
to
what
read
that
that one.
is. I think it's another children's book, or it's someone who used to live in Central Florida before Disney bought all the property. I'm not sure
Perfect.
which, but I think it's a children's book.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. And we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in for the editor's desk. Take care, everybody.
Imagine rediscovering a past life.
Now imagine finding the person you shared it with.
And I just told all my friends, I'm like, you guys have to read this because I can't put it down. And I have not even gotten to the half of the book yet.
We are Lynn Everard and Louise Gomez, and we are the authors of the book, The Reuniting of Two Past Lives and the Unveiling of the 12 Sacred Lessons.
We invite you to purchase the book and discover the magic. Even if you have never written a book, You are still an author. In fact, we all are. In every moment, each of us is writing our own unique story that we call our lives. Because many of us are, as in the lyrics of the Dan Hill song, Sometimes When We Touch, writers still trapped within our truth. If this is you, why not start writing your thoughts in a journal? It will help you get your truth on paper and could just be the start of your own book. And don't forget to join us here every week for the next edition of The Editor's Desk.